So, Oklahoma State just can't seem to stay out of the news right now for literally all the best reasons. Bringing in maybe the only coach to test Cale Sanderson consistently. Maybe. And that maybe is a pretty big maybe, so we'll see. However, we can't doubt that David Taylor and staff are bringing in outstanding transfers, and I'm sure they'll start to bring in outstanding recruits as well. And there's also just a non-stop buzz around the program right now. To give a little background info on this video, I was actually waiting for a while to post it. I just thought there was too many high-level transfers in the portal, but besides Canada, Michigan, all the other huge prospects are gone. So I was actually working on the Iowa preview video, and of course, well, my John Smith documentary. But then Oklahoma State grabbed Cam Amin after already bringing in 3+ transfers, with 3 of them being previous 165, so my interest was piqued. But don't worry, Iowa fans, that lineup preview will be out soon as well. I still think Oklahoma State and staff will have an uphill battle at NCAAs, but they're having an effect on the wrestling community right now that is incredible to watch happen. And to be honest, I'm all here for it. So let's quit wasting time and work our way through the Oklahoma State Cowboys wrestling lineup and stick around to at least 157 through 174 because it gets really interesting. To be honest, I think 125 is one of the most straightforward for Oklahoma State, letting young Troy Spratley lead the charge in the lineup. He came up just a hair short of the NCAA podium last year, but he's still pretty young at this point, where we could seriously see some significant gains after a full season and then a full summer. He was formerly a Minnesota Gopher, but after his red shirt there, he headed to Stillwater, and it appears he's staying, so I'm excited to see his development heading into the 2025 season. I wish I had more to say about 125. They do have some other options, I guess, there, but Troy Spratley's the guy all the way here. Then 133 is a weight I could not be more excited to talk about, with a redshirt freshman appearing like he'll take over for Dayton Fix and Cale Hughes, a former Ironman champion and highly sought after recruit. But he was a Stillwater product through and through, so I don't know how many schools really had a chance at him in the first place besides Oklahoma State. Hughes is coming off a pretty hot summer start, winning the U20 Open, taking out some notable names along the way. During redshirt, he won 4 D1 matches, but beat a lot of multiple divisional opponents, which to be honest is still pretty good. There's some All-Americans who lose to D2 wrestlers a year before they go on massive runs, so it's all part of the process. But in my opinion, it appears like Cale Hughes is ready to take the spot in the lineup, and I'm excited to see him fill the massive shoes Dayton Fix left for him. The 141 starter last year for the Cowboys, and who I think will take the spot again, is Tegan Jamison. I seriously think he could be an All-American contender, or heck, he looked like one at certain points in the season last year, being a few All-Americans during the season. However, he really didn't have a great showing at Nationals, and it kind of hurt Oklahoma State's trophy chances in the long run. I still think he's going to be the guy here and grow from this season tremendously. However, there is 2 interesting true freshmen coming in who might not be impact guys now, but I would say they could be that guy eventually. Those wrestlers are JJ McComas, a super high recruit out of Oklahoma that I think could start competing in big matches sooner rather than later. And then there was also a super interesting pickup for Oklahoma State, wrestling out of Japan in Rin Sakamoto. He made the Japan World Team at 61 kilograms at his respected age level, and he is for sure a crafty freestyle wrestler. I think he will for sure be a redshirt this upcoming season just to adjust to, well, everything. I mean, he has to adjust to the American school system, folk style wrestling, and I'm sure there's a lot of other things that I'm just not thinking of right now. But to be honest, in Sakamoto's case, he's in the right place for it. He'll be coming into a very supportive program. 149 has a little bit of depth depending on how you look at it. Jordan Williams really showed some huge gains midway through the season last year, and I can only imagine if he does the right things this offseason, he's only going to continue to escalate. Carter Young is also expected to maybe bump up here after redshirting last season. I think Carter Young has some special talents, but we really haven't seen too much success besides a few key moments of success during college. I mean, last year he almost got teched by Williams, losing 15-2. With that said, a coach that had a very big impact on him was Jimmy Kennedy, and guess who's already running practices in Stillwater. Either way, I think Young's gonna have to make some big gains to get his spot back from Williams, but we'll see. 157 is kind of similar to 149. There's some depth, yeah, but at the end of the day, the starter from last year will probably be the guy. Maybe, and we'll talk about that maybe in a little bit. But for now, let's highlight Teague Travis. Travis had some awesome wins last year, and he had a decent amount of consistency up at 157, even winning some matches at NCAs last year. Behind him is the Bog brothers, who have some talent for sure, but I can't really see them pushing Travis for the spot. And with that, the first half of the lineup is completely done. Now let's have some fun with 165 and 174, which I'm definitely clumping together here. For starters, pre and post John Smith at Oklahoma State, it seemed like the transfers never stopped flowing in. I mean, Dean Hamity was at Oklahoma State before the Wisconsin bus could even get back to Madison. Caleb Fish also left Michigan State pretty quickly to go to Stillwater as well, which right there alone, there's already a logjam. Except Hamity has stated he's going to bump up to 174, so okay, we'll put him up there for now and talk about him in a little bit. So Hamity bumps up to 74, which is great for Fish to go 165. But oh wait, nope, here comes Cam Amin to just amplify the logjam here at 165. To be honest, Oklahoma State has always been Cam Amin's second choice. I mean, it's going to be weird to see Cam Amin in a singlet other than the Michigan singlet. The Amins have just been a staple of that university. However, pretty quickly after his visit to Oklahoma State this spring, Cam Amin committed. To be honest, I think he just loved the David Taylor effect and signed the paper right there and then. However, with all that said, the questions still linger. I mean, he's going to be going away where there's already a guy who beat him this last season. In the long run though, I think Amin definitely has the overall record over Fish. Plus Fish technically has a red shirt to use, so that problem could be solved pretty quickly, especially with this being Amin's last season. But at the same time, Fish probably committed to Oklahoma State not expecting to use a red shirt. And again, I know these guys are competitors, but I'm sure they have a plan to fit all three of these guys in the lineup somehow. Like for example, I heard this, but I really can't see this being true, and Cam Amin might be going 157.
Oh my gosh, what did you just say?
Like, there's just no way, right? To be honest, if Cam Amin can do it right, then giddy up, because Oklahoma State is moving up some of those team rankings. But at the same time, I think 157 for Cam Amin could just be too much for him, especially since he's already not the most offensive guy in the world, and a hard weight cut could only make that worse for him. But either way, I'm sure they have a plan, especially in today's landscape of NCAA wrestling. And then to talk a little bit more about Dean Hamity, I think it stinks for Wisconsin, but of course it's awesome for Oklahoma State, especially since he's bumping up to 174. Hamity's already a fueled up attack machine, and being up at 174, he's going to be even more amped up with more food in him, especially with him going to be able to develop around guys like David Taylor and having Dustin Plott above him. I also can't skip over last year's starter at 174, Braden Thompson, who was a true freshman, but he had of course an up and down season like most true freshmen have in college. I think this redshirt next year, battling with guys around him like Hamity, Plott, David Taylor, and a bunch of other guys, could really bring the best out of him. He was a top tier recruit, and in my opinion, he just needs some time to grow his skills. 184 is the Dustin Plott show, and to be honest, he's probably on his own island for the second best guy at the weight class, only being behind Parker Kakaisen of UNI, and he'll have a lot of space to get closer to Kakaisen. However, he's still an awesome wrestler for Oklahoma State, and making the finals is still a lot of team points for your team. Sadly, behind him is AJ Heeg, who was another huge recruit for the Cowboys, but it appears he's in the transfer portal right now. He had a pretty solid redshirt year as a true freshman too. Not really sure why, especially with Plott being done after this year, so maybe he doesn't want to waste a year of eligibility behind him. Maybe the kid himself, Jersey Rob, who also had a nice redshirt year last year, is potentially beating him in the room, so that's why he's leaving as well, but I really don't know. He was another staple in Oklahoma, so that's another reason I kind of want to see him stay at Oklahoma State. But besides Plott owning this way in the room at 184, there's really nothing else for me to say, so moving on to 197. For 197, there is a lot, and I mean a ton, of talk of Christian Carroll coming down to 197. He made 97 kilograms this spring, but that is still a ways away from 197 pounds. With that said, if he could do it right and beat out the starter Luke Serber, who really hasn't reached his full potential, I think Carroll could honestly be an animal at 197 pounds. But the full season is a lot longer than a one-time weigh-in. I think the fact that Hendrickson is coming in at heavyweight is sort of forcing Carroll's hand. However, he's been trying to drop weight ever since the start of last season, so I think if he does it right and developed all that last year, he could really be an impact guy for him at 197, obviously. However, to move to heavyweight, they also have Cody Merrill coming in, who I think could be a monster already in college. I think he could be the guy at heavyweight for them once Hendrickson leaves, but that's sort of a 2026 issue, which is a little too early for me. Also, for those unaware of who this Hendrickson guy is that I just keep mentioning, which I highly doubt in the wrestling community, but he's Mr. America himself in college wrestling, being a several-time All-American for Air Force and a pinning machine. But due to some regulations at Air Force, he was forced to transfer. And since he wanted to use his last year of eligibility, that was his only option. So shortly after David Taylor announced he was the new coach at Oklahoma State, he decided to join the forces in Stillwater, which out of all the schools he was looking at, I honestly think they were his best option, considering the young guys who will be around him, the new coaches that will be around him, and the RTC possibility after he graduates. Plus, once again, Wyatt Hendrickson's another guy that could really take Oklahoma State from like an 8th or 9th place team all the way up into trophy contention, because this guy has scored 20 plus points at NCAAs for a couple years in a row now. Overall though, I'm pumped for Oklahoma State. I will have that stream pulled up so fast for Oklahoma State's first duel. They will have an awesome lineup, and even if one guy's out due to whatever, their depth and options right now is just mind-blowing. And overall, it's just going to create an awesome dual product. I hope they go to CKLV again and really showcase their team. But hey, this is a way too early preview for a reason, so let's not get ahead of ourselves too much, I guess. However, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more, along with leaving a comment on any Cowboys I missed out on. I also would love for you all to check out the trailer for my mini documentary about John Smith coming out in August. Now with all that said, like always, take care everybody.